we decided to open a coffee shop during COVID.
Let's get down to business.
Woo! So, like I said, we started a business during COVID. Rolling backwards a little bit. So COVID started March 2020, and we started working on our shop in October 2021. And we didn't get to open until last month, which was April 16th.
Yeah.
It was definitely a lot longer of a journey than we expected. Due to COVID, things were definitely delayed. Things that we thought we would start renovations in October, and we thought we'd be open by January, but that is not exactly what happened. Everybody was actually, a lot of like the electricians, the plumbers, all those people, because of COVID and everybody was home working on their houses and their businesses, they were actually just so booked out. So really waiting on an electrician and plumber really took a couple months. And I think that probably is what took the longest process. So
especially with this building having hardly anything that we actually needed for a coffee shop.
Yeah. We had to do plumbing, electricity, we had to do a lot of remodel work, building things. So definitely there was a lot of work to be done. It was kind of the opposite. So due to COVID, everybody was super busy in the more of the, trade industries.
Yeah.
Everybody's home working on their place, so they're actually really busy comparative to when there's not COVID. I mean, they're always busy, but they were extra busy.
Everyone's at home and wanting to get homeworks done.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Exactly. So anyways, that took actually probably the longest. So we were kind of ready for the plumbing and electricity in December. It didn't get done until basically February. But there really wasn't any holdbacks for opening. We kind of had planned ahead of time, and we were like, okay, worst case scenario, we're closed. What are we going to do to provide profits? Like, how are we going to get profit? And we had a to-go option, and so we already own a coffee stand.
And wherever you are, just real quick, and wherever you're watching this video, whatever the rules are right now, whenever you're watching this, at this point in time, this is still 2020, and everything is still pretty fresh. Everything is still pretty closed. Everything is still masks and 50%, even less at some places. So it was just a really uncertain time.
Oh, and I totally said that wrong. I said it was October 2021. It wasn't. It was October 2020. We were still in 2020. Yeah.
So everything
COVID
was
started
still...
March. We signed the lease for the building October 2020.
So everything was still full COVID at this time.
Yeah.
Not smart.
Yeah, but because we have already done this industry, the coffee business, we have a stand not far from here. We knew that people still wanted their coffee. Like, COVID or no COVID, people wanted coffee. And so we kind of had a to-go system down if we had to go to that. If we could only go to go and we both worked it, we were going to be able to meet our ends.
I mean, you gotta remember, this is Washington State. Everyone wants coffee, no matter what.
That's true. We are in the Pacific Northwest. This might not
This is
work
Coffee
for
Central.
the East Coast.
Yeah.
Or the South. I don't know.
Even them, they need their Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah,
All
that's
of
true.
the East Coast.
That's true.
And Starbucks. But here, the small town coffee stands, drive-through stands, if you're not in the West Coast, then you don't know what we're talking about, maybe. But it's a huge thing here, is the small business drive-through coffee stands. Everyone loves those.
True.
Gets their coffee.
Yeah, that's very true. And with COVID, I feel like a lot of the coffee stands picked up here in the Pacific Northwest because people couldn't go out in places. They could only get to-go stuff. So people started getting their to-go coffees, and instead of going into cafes and stuff, because cafes closed for a small amount of time until they figured out how to do to-go options. So
Yeah.
I definitely feel like our drive-through picked up a little bit once COVID started.
And we'll do another video on that more in depth, because
Yeah.
it's kind of a crazy story.
Yeah.
Not really, but it's good. It's worth mentioning in another video.
Would we do it again? Yeah, we would do it again. Even though it's crazy
Yeah.
and it's a big risk. Like I said, we kind of knew what we were getting into. We kind of knew. We made sure we kind of had two options. There was one building we were looking at, and the rent was crazy high, and we decided, you know what, if what's another word? That's not a bad word. If something hits the fan, we wouldn't have been able to cover those costs. Whereas this new building we found, we would be able to cover the cost with just me and him working, doing to-go orders. So
No employees.
with no employees, and so we were able to kind of like weigh the risks with that, which is important to do.
And again, you gotta understand, this Pacific Northwest, even right now, as we've been a month into opening, like 80 to 90% of people still, even though they can come in and sit down, get it to go.
Yeah.
So that was always going to be an option that, you know what, worst case scenario, we don't let anyone sit, but we still serve to go. Sure. And we knew that would always be an option.
There was a moment where you weren't allowed to have anybody come into your cafe. So that's why we were thinking, okay, if nobody was allowed to come into our cafe at all, even to get to-go orders, we would figure out a system. We would do deliveries. We would bring it out to the curb. We had a little Dutch door. We would hand it out the Dutch door. We kind of had a system, figured it out beforehand, and we made sure that we made sure even the stand would be able to cover the costs of the building, and the bills and stuff if it didn't work out. So we did make sure we weighed the risks. So we didn't just jump out there and go, oh, whatever happens, happens. Like we did, had it laid out.
And we would do it again because hopefully, I'm not jinxing anything, if we ever do it again, it's in a post-COVID world, which is even easier.
True.
Yeah.
And for us now in Washington State, COVID restrictions are lifting a little bit, and by June 30th, things should be a little bit more laid back. People should be allowed, the capacity in restaurants and cafes will be higher. So yeah, I'm hoping we're on the tail end of this COVID.
Yeah. Hopefully. All right, well, let us know in the comments if you have any more questions about how we did this and how we opened during COVID, or any other questions you might have about the coffee life, the coffee shop life.
Yeah.
We're going to be trying to do a video hopefully every week. As you can see, this is our first video, so let us know what you think. Let us know if you have any recommendations of what we should do next, what we should talk about next, and we'll be looking in those comments.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep drinking coffee.